And I'm Dao Vu. Today, talented vocalist David De Costa, who does a killer Frank Sinatra, is here as our special guest host. Welcome back. So great to see you.
Well, it's great to be back, and thank you for having me here.
Yeah, the last time we saw you, you were heading off to Australia.
That's right. We did a 2-month tour of Australia, everywhere from Sydney to Melbourne, Gold Coast, Darwin. I mean, I can't even remember all the places, to be honest.
Wow.
They like to drink in Australia.
You went as to perform as Frank Sinatra.
We went there with the Rat Pack, and we went there with a friend of mine named Johnny Edwards, another friend of mine named Nicholas Brooks. We had a very successful tour, but we're all back in the States right now, and we're part of the Rat Pack is Back over at the Tuscany, which if you haven't seen the show before, it'll be a real treat. I do encourage you to get out there.
Right. Now, how did your career get started?
Well, I'll make it quick, but Jilly Rizzo was Sinatra's best friend and bodyguard. I was out in Chicago at the time, and my brother, Kevin De Costa, was working for Jilly, and he came out to Las Vegas to do a show, which my dad and my other brother, Darren De Costa, were holding down the gig. I'd occasionally come in and sing in a couple songs, and the owner at the time, Jilly Rizzo, he told my dad, he says, you know, if you want to keep the gig here, he says, we got to get David to come in and sing. So my dad would call me up and he says, David, do you want to work with us at Jilly's? And I says, doing what? He said, singing. I said, singing? He says, well, if you do, you got 2 weeks to learn 25 Sinatra songs.
That's all.
But it's always been part of my family, and I always wanted to get into music earlier in life, but you know, when you come from a talented family, sometimes, you know, there's a little bit of, you get intimidated.
Sure. Now, what can you tell us about the Frank Sinatra 100th birthday show?
Well, it is this year, December 12th, it's going to be Frank Sinatra's 100th birthday. I will actually be in Seattle, but the Rat Pack is Back is going to be having a show going on here in town. And as we know, unfortunately, the man and his music will not be in Las Vegas, not at the Venetian any longer. So actually, we are the only show in town where you could come and see the Frank Sinatra character, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis, and you never know what special guests might show up as well.
Yeah, you know a lot of people. And you're going to be performing, is it this weekend?
Oh yes, definitely. We're there
at Tuscany?
We're there 6 nights a week. We're dark on Sunday. Show starts at 7:30.
Oh, neat, yeah.
And it's a quaint, very romantic room, not a bad seat in the house. I would encourage you all to come down and, you know, get a couple of drinks, because the more you drink, the better we're going to sound. So.
Well, they're very glad you joined us today.
The pleasure is mine.
Absolutely. And you're going to be performing later on.
Oh, I'd love to.
Okay, see the man himself. Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, trending right